Yeah,
Are we're gonna do this visually too, right?
Yes. We normally stick it on the old YouTube a few days after we release the audio.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Just check my hair. Yes, it's fine. It's fine. Right. Yeah, is everyone ready? And we'll get started.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I guess I should start at the beginning. That's when it all started, funnily enough. It's how these things always start, at the beginning. So, ladies and gents, today we are not speaking to only one guest or two guests. We have three guests. Back in November, we spoke to the wonderful Braden Barrie all about an upcoming project called Cup of Cheer. Well, me and Tom, we watched it, and quite frankly, we fell in love. So today, returning to the show, we have the man behind the music, Mr. Braden Barrie, and the brains behind Cup of Cheer, Mr. Jake Horowitz and Andy Lewis. Welcome to USUK Chronicles, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
It's absolutely... Oh, not at all. It's just beautiful to have you all here, but we've never done three people at once. So it's going to be very interesting, because normally it's one person can focus on and go, yes, we'll bombard the shit out of you for an hour. And now we've got bombard the shit out of three of you. So
pretty much. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to start with Jake. How was your year, fella? How's your year been?
Am I being bombarded now?
Yeah, so I'm going to target you for a good hour. Yep.
How was my year? Oh man, it was fantastic. I went to so many concerts. I saw so many movies and went out for dinner a lot. How was my year? I don't know. It was shit. It was it's pretty awful. Except releasing Cup of Cheer was really good. And we enjoyed making Cup of Cheer, which we did at the beginning of 2020, and then releasing it at the end of 2020. And it was just nice to be able to make something very stupid that made people laugh, because what else are you going to do in a bad year like this?
Well, yeah, at least it's like you have something to look forward to. So it's almost like, because obviously you got to make it at the start. So even though 2020 was an absolute pile of wank, at least you got something to look forward to right at the end. It's like, yes, this year's been shit, but at least December is going to be wonderful, boys. So
just sandwich it at the start and the end with something good, and then just wade through the shit in the middle.
How about you, Andy?
Pretty much the same. I mean, again, Cup of Cheer was like the big thing for us in 2020, and the release went really well, so we were super happy about that. But otherwise, nothing much really to report other than sitting on the couch and slowly gaining more and more weight.
And can I just say that Andy is sitting in a higher chair than me, so I look like his like little child, but my chair doesn't go that as high as his.
Yeah.
I thought you were, Jake. I don't know what you're trying to. Are you not? Is this not what this is? Jamie, if you lied to me.
Actually, yeah, I am his child, and I'm from the UK, and I'm just doing a Canadian accent.
Can you do a British accent?
Oh, can you do a British accent? Oh, he's so accurate. I'm really good at it. Oh. I've been told that that's so true to life and not at all like a chimney sweep.
You wouldn't believe. All talk over here.
But Andy, can you do a Canadian accent?
No.
I can maybe do like a very bad American accent, like howdy partner, but like that's really like the best it gets. Yeah.
He actually had to do a Canadian accent in our first movie, and it's in the final scene, and it's like really weird and off-putting.
Yeah, there's a scene in his other movie where there's like a drive-through, and I'm like the voice behind the drive-through, and I'm just struggling.
And so the whole movie, it's like takes place in Canada, and then they pull up to this drive-through, and then they're like, "Hello, what can I get for you?" Andy. Yeah.
Do you want fries with that?
Exactly like that.
Yeah, very, very stilted.
It's so Andy. I can't do a Canadian accent either. I've tried with Braden a few times. He's just like, just want to shut up. Just stop now.
So true. The one with the guy in the desert with one sock.
I'm not going to do that now. Braden, man, what about you? Even though we talked to you a few months ago, I'm still going to ask you because, why not?
It's been a heck of a time, pretty much a shell of a man at this point. And it's big. I mean, Cup of Cheer, like really, I mean, I was working on Say We Can Fly projects, obviously too, but like Cup of Cheer, like working on the score is pretty much what like got me through, because it was like always something to look forward to. Like even when I was working on the score, it's like obviously had December to look forward to. So it was nice to have like just a little bit of hope, at the end of the day. Yeah, man. I mean, I've just tried to keep working and stay productive, and I know that we all have. So yeah, it is what it is, but it's still created some stuff, so that's can't complain really.
Good. And completed Netflix.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Every time we talk to Braden, he's like, "Hey, I'm watching Dumbo's Big Adventure, the limited series on Netflix."
No, I was watching Elmo and Grouchland the other night.
Yeah.
Why not?
On your Netflix account.
Yes, yeah.
You get so much better shit over there.
I'm like, I didn't know this existed, and how did Braden get my password?
Again.
And Braden, in an update since our last conversation, we still don't have Shuffle on our Netfllix. I'm not happy about this.
Really?
I want
That's
it.
ridiculous.
So before we talk about Cup of Cheer, Andy and Jake, take us back to the beginning of your filmmaking. How did you both get into filmmaking?
I was one of those kids who had a camera and was making movies with my friends from when I was like 7 years old. So I always wanted to do that, and I was always just making silly little things, and then just progressively got more serious. I don't know. I got more, and I then I started doing TV writing, and I started producing stuff, and then my first movie was called All About Who You Know, and it came out a year or two ago. It came out before Cup of Cheer. And then about a month, I don't really know where I'm going with this. What I'm saying is that the movie came out, and it was like, great, I can, my first feature's out. I can do all these great things that I've looked forward to forever, which is basically just seeing your movie with an audience. And then about 2 days before our first film festival, all this happened. And we've been inside ever since.
Have you got any copies of those old films when you were a kid?
Yeah, there's a few in the archives that will not be released.
Why?
I think I've seen a glimpse of a couple, and
I have not showed anybody.
they are
Very silly, and like I'm only embarrassed by them because I'm in them. If I wasn't in them, I would show them to people.
I think you should spread the love and show the world what you're the real Jake Horowitz.
It's a lot like Cup of Cheer. It was just like equally silly stuff.
What about you, Andy? How did this come about for you?
I was actually studying creative writing as a degree, and he was doing a master's degree in it at my uni in London, and that's how we met. And I'd kind of like dabbled a bit in screenwriting, and film had always interested me, but I kind of was just trying every kind of writing. And then he started talking to me about the script he was working on, and he'd said he'd been working on for years, and he just kept banging on about it. So eventually I just told him to like sit down and write it, and then I helped him edit it, and I just kind of accidentally started helping him make the film. And then before I knew it, I was like in Canada on a film set. And I just really enjoyed it and kept going from there.
Yeah, human trafficking is how he's saying he got into it. That's what started his career.
Smuggled him in a cage on a ship.
Yeah.
It took him years to get there. Yeah.
My next question was going to be, how did you end up working together? But now the answer is completely utter accident.
Human trafficking.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the first film you made, sorry?
It's called All About Who You Know, which was retitled from its better title of Who You Know, as in it's about who you know. But yeah, it's called All About Who You Know, and it's not yet in the UK for some reason.
I wonder why I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You can send your angry letters to our distributor.
What was that one about?
It's about there's something in my hair.
That's a weird idea for a film.
It's about a guy who wants to be a screenwriter, a very original idea, and he basically meets the daughter of his like screenwriting idol, this amazing like Oscar-winning screenwriter that he's always admired, and he comes up with this horrible like romantic comedy plan to date her so that he can like meet her father and get into the industry. But unlike every rom-com where they find out at the end and they're like, oh, but I fell in love with you anyway and it's cute, this is sort of like the real version of that, which is like you're creepy and this is weird and this is not okay. So it's like sort of an anti-rom-com where it takes the tropes of romantic comedies and it's sort of meta, much like Cup of Cheer, funny, a little bit more dramatic, and coming of age sort of indie movie.
That actually sounds really funny. I want to watch that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send you a copy because nobody in the UK is going to see it anytime soon.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yes, please, Jake, because I really want to watch it. So, Braid, what got you into acting, sir? I know we asked you this back on the other show, but, it's tying in nicely, and I want to bring it in, as a whole. So,
yeah. What got me into that? Well, growing up on the farm.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just
no, keep going.
I loved. I was like obsessed with like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean, were my like 3 movies. So I would just like, pretend to be Frodo, Jack Sparrow, and Harry Potter. Spent a lot of time doing that when I was a young boy outside by myself, and I don't know. I just always loved it. Like I've always actually loved movies and acting stuff more than I love my music, which is, I don't know. I do love my music a lot, but I've always that's kind of always been my actual deepest passion, I would say. So first time I moved to the city, I just started doing, extra work and, because I wanted to be on sets, and started making my own stuff with my friend Micah, that Dake and Tyke show. And I've always loved, doing music videos too. And it's not so much, there's no dialogue in those, but I've always found a lot, enjoyment out of expressing the stories of my music through my emotions and just visually. So I've always just loved it. And then I happened to stumble into an audition with these guys, and here we are, so
the rest is history.
Yeah.
So how did you end up getting involved in Cup of Cheer?
It's kind of a long story, but basically
there's a good podcast about it, actually.
Oh yeah, I did. I made a podcast up. Yeah, so they've heard it like 30 times. But basically, I moved out of the city to this town where it was shot, Aurelia, and my mom followed this venue on Facebook, and she sent me a post being like, "Hey, they're doing auditions for a movie," and so I went. And I almost left because I didn't have a script and everyone else there did. And I was like, oh my God, I prepared this like dark monologue, which I did for you guys, I think at like by the fireplace that one night. Cause I was like, well, maybe they just want to see something. I didn't realize it was like a Christmas family comedy. It was not really a family comedy, but so anyway, I just went and like kind of blindly walked in and, walked out after I did my thing. And I was like, I absolutely ruined that. So, and then, then Dan, the cinematographer, ran out and called me back in, and then they had me read like a drunk Santa part. And for some reason they wanted me to be in it. So it's just really random.
Yeah, we held those auditions in the small town where we shot, because most of our parts were cast and we were just sort of looking for local people to fill the background, play some smaller parts. And then Braden came in and was like a genuinely amazing actor, and of course an incredible musician and the most talented person that we know, but we didn't know any of that at the time. He was like really funny and really interesting, and so we were like, we got to find a part for this guy. So we sort of gave him this henchman role, which is one of the last things left, and then we expanded it for him, and then he just ended up working on like more and more of the movie and becoming essential to getting it made. Like other than acting, he did like everything else.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did you end up doing the music? Was it a case of these guys going, oh, you do music? There you go.
Yeah, I don't really know like what your guys' thought process was on like, asking me to do it. But yeah, Jake just called me one day and was like, hey, do you want to score it? I'm pretty sure I almost said no because I was like, I don't know how. And then you kind of told me like, no, just do it.
I was like, all right, I don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
All the actors we hired, they were like, I don't want to be in this. And I was like, you do it. Andy definitely didn't want to have any part in writing it.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was just brought here.
Human trafficking. So.
All forced, yeah.
I didn't even want to do it. I have to like look at myself in the mirror and like punch myself in the face. I'm like, come on. It's very aggressive getting a movie made.
So where did the idea for the movie even come from?
I think people were telling us a lot that like the easy way to make money in the Canadian film industry is to write a kind of Hallmark Christmas movie, and like, oh, you don't have to make it good, you just have to follow their kind of rules and write it, and then you'll get an easy check out of it. And I think we kind of reluctantly, after being told it a few times, sat down to watch one.
Yeah, we were like, let's look into it. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe we can do it in a week and get a little bit of money. And we got sent like from a producer a sheet of like from an actual it wasn't necessarily Hallmark, but it was like an actual film. It probably was Hallmark. I just don't want to get sued. It was
from one of these companies.
From some company rhymes with Mallmark. I don't know. And it was like page 15, they have to do this. Page 20, they have to do this. Page 30, they have to almost kiss, but not really. Page 50, they have to be in a small. It was like beat by beat, and we were like, that's crazy. We can do our own version of this and make it really funny, because our favorite movies are They Came Together and Airplane and Naked Gun and all these movies that they don't really make anymore.
And also just the second we watched one of them, it was kind of like, how has no one already made a parody of these? Like so much of the material was just staring you in the face, like ready to go.
Like, I truly felt that the satire parody spoof film was dead, because I'm a massive Naked Gun fan. Airplane, Hot Shots, Top Secret, there's loads. But then recently, obviously, you had like epic movies. So like, they've been so bad. And it was just I wasn't sure what to expect from it. And then you've literally revitalized the entire spoof movie thing for me, because I fucking love that film so much. It was just glorious.
Thank you. That was like our most aspirational goal, was that we love that genre more than anything. And we wanted to show that it doesn't have to be people getting kicked in the balls over and over again, or like a shitty pop culture reference that doesn't. And that's really what it takes, like just actual jokes. And that's, I don't know why they can't make movies like that again.
I mean, well, exactly. But it's almost because people get offended by everything these days now. So because you threw that, I mean, there was one part where you threw the C-bomb in, and I was just like, I'm sorry, what? I'm just going to have to rewind that a second, because I'm pretty sure that C-word just got dropped, and it fucking did. I was like, okay, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love it, because it's so like to the bone, almost like on the edge, but it's just like it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
That was the only joke that almost didn't make it. Like everything else, where we were like, because we were pretty much in control of everything. Thankfully, we, had our final say in everything. But once we got the film finished and to the distributor, they were like, "You should drop that C word," and we were like, "No."
There was also the issue of, if we did, the only way to kind of keep that joke in it in any way without a huge edit would be to dub the word, and it's surprisingly difficult to find a substitute that works. Yeah.
Plus, Andy, you're British. You've got to get the C word in the movie.
I mean, exactly. To me, it was not.
I think we also knew it was stupid, because our North American distribution partners who were handling the international distribution said it's fine for North America, but in places like the UK, you cannot use the C word. And we obviously had both lived in the UK, and we said, no, that's completely the opposite.
We love that word.
Of course.
So how long did it take you to go from like the concept all the way through to starting production?
record-breakingly fast.
Surprisingly, and
probably we thought of the concept and started writing the script. We were going to the UK for Christmas, as we do every Christmas. The day before we left, so I think it was like December 1st or something. The day before we left, we started writing the script. Before Christmas, we were done the script. And then, we had the idea on December 1st. We were like, let's write this movie. So outline to script being finished was Christmas. And then we started shooting on January 20th. So
wow,
within 2 months from having an idea to having finished the film, which is never, that's completely unheard of. But it was just because we were scrappy and we did the whole thing on our own.
And
really.
I think it's usually the opposite with a script where the first draft is awful and you have to work very hard to get it where you need it. Whereas with this, it was almost like it worked very well because there was an easy kind of formula that we were following of the Hallmark movie. So there wasn't much editing to do, and it kind of stopped us second guessing a lot of our jokes. The fact that we just rushed it through to shooting it, we didn't really have time to stop and think if anything was too much or too out of touch with the rest of the film or anything like that.
That is insane. It's really impressive as well. So you're both writers on the movie. How did you go through that process of writing it? Is you both have like an aspect of the movie you work on individually, or did you both sit there and work on the whole thing together?
Yeah, we sat in the same room and we each had our laptops, and I did one scene as he was doing the next scene, and then we would just trade back, and it made us laugh and it stayed in. It was just like, what do we personally find funny? Let's put that in. And I think because we had such a good understanding of the genre, it was almost like we were preparing to write this movie for a decade, but just because we watch those movies all the time and study them, and then study what doesn't work in them, like when the scary movies and the epic movies started making the whole genre terrible, we were make sure we don't do any of the things that they do.
Yeah. It's almost like they grabbed Leslie Nielsen and Charlie Sheen and went, "This will work. We'll get these guys, get these veterans, these heroes in, that basically took spoof movies to the next level, and they'll just do some random shit for no reason."
Yeah.
It's disappointing. But were there any jokes or any scenes that you had to cut out that you really, were you told to cut out, or that you wanted to use that couldn't use, basically?
Oh yeah,
I think
Braden was in one. Braden was in one of them.
There was one big one that we went backwards and forwards a lot on.
Braden, can you explain it? You were as the outsider to that scene.
Wait, which one?
At the town hall with the
the baby.
What?
There's a scene where my ex there's actually the first scene I shot, I think. But where we walk in and he
the second last scene in the movie when the bad guys come to the town hall.
Yeah.
There's a woman holding a baby and he comes in and he's like, "Oh," and then he takes it and he throws the baby.
That's in the extras on the DVD, isn't it?
What?
Yes, that's true. It is on the
DVD. Is. It's on the extras, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The point being kind of that we were like, these nice people are going to, spoiler alert, kill this man, and it's meant to be played off as a victory. We felt like he had to do something pretty awful beforehand to justify that. And I feel like it doesn't really get much worse than throwing the baby across the room.
It was still funny though. 100 extras from this small town that were in the room, these sweet little small town people. We were like, "Guys, okay, we're gonna throw a baby, but don't worry, it's fake. Fake baby." And they were all like, "Yeah, whatever, we don't care, real, fake. Toss that baby across the room." They did not care.
So, the jokes and the lines in the movie, that, like I said, they're fucking hilarious. And me and Tom, we've started quoting them to each other all the time. If either of us was watching the movie, we're just constantly texting back lines from this movie back and forth.
Yeah.
So where does that comedy come from? Do you have a background in comedy of what inspired you? Or is it just you're just naturally funny people?
I think it's called like a mental disorder. I don't want to make light of mental illness, but we probably have it.
I mean, it's a big thing these days, guys. So let's talk about it.
It's the hot news.
But yeah, Andy and I, and like we've come to learn, Braden, are just fucking weird. Like we'll send voice memos to each other that like are absolutely meaningless. We'll like launch into a character and like have a 2-minute voice memo that doesn't mean anything. And so like we're always just saying, we're always like entertaining ourselves like with our own jokes that don't mean anything. So like a lot of the random humor comes from that. Like we just had like, and sometimes we'll write stuff down. Like if we have a joke idea out of nowhere to use it. Like I think "shut your fuck trap," which that was just like a note on my phone, and it just said "shut your fuck trap," and I was like, okay, we gotta put that somewhere.
Like something you write on your phone at like 3 a.m. when you like think it's a great idea and it ended up working. So
I do have like I have done stand-up comedy, and I've always been a comedy writer, and comedy is like my background, but yeah, I think just the movie is very us. It's very our personality. So that is sort of where it came from. And we still like are doing jokes to ourselves every day that we're like, oh, let's put that in the sequel if we ever make one.
I was going to say, so was there, are you still, I'm hoping that you carry on with these movies, basically. I'm hoping that you're going to bring more out in the spoof genre, because like I said, I feel like you're bringing it back to life where it should be, back on the pedestal where it was before. It's you're reeling it back in, and I'm hoping there's gonna be more to come. So
yeah, I would love that. I think people have to see this movie, and I don't know, for that to happen, like I just think more people need to see it, more people need to talk about it. I think part of the problem these days is that people really will see a film and like it, and then they'll be like, yeah, that was good, what else is on? Whereas if you really hate a film, you'll tell everybody about it. And there's a lot of religious moms in America that really didn't like this film because they clicked on it on Amazon thinking it was a real Christmas movie, which we wanted everyone to do. So they thought it was a Hallmark movie. You'll see a lot of 1-star reviews on Amazon that say, this is the worst movie ever made, incredibly vulgar. And it's just like, it's from people who didn't know what they were getting into.
Fucking idiots. Okay, I'll tell you what then. I'm going to go on Amazon after this, and I'll go to 5-star fucking rating, and I'll tell people what it's truly about. Motherfuckers.
But so yeah, anyone, if you do like the movie, like a little thing like that makes a huge difference for us. It means more people get to see the movie. It means someone doesn't think it's a 1-star movie, and it gets to attract the correct audience.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's Jamie. You've got to do the same thing, all right?
Yep, I'm on it.
Good man. Braden. With the score, dude, so like, do you have to watch the scenes over and over and over again to put the music to it, or do you just write something and then go, oh, that was slotted nicely there, and that was slotted nicely there?
Well, the way that I did it was I learned that I could bring a movie into my like audio software that I use for recording. So the movie's like right there, and I can play it and just like compose right to it.
Okay.
Wow.
So I just started with, I started with the intro. I remember I sent Jake, I was like, hey, I was just messing around on the piano. And then he really liked it, which was great, because I was like, it's impossible. I mean, the way that I make all my music, and I feel like a lot of creative stuff, is just kind of like you fuck around until it's right. And that's kind of what I did with the whole thing. I was just like, I just press my keyboard and kind of see what happens. And, I think the main thing for me was, what I was most nervous about was, I know especially with a Christmas movie like that, it's got to be kind of like one cohesive piece that goes through the whole movie, which was, sounds like a very challenging thing to do, but I just really broke it down. I recycled themes, just like melodies and stuff, where like me and Jake discussed, like, oh, this theme should come back in this scene, so it was easier for me to look at it that way. But yeah, I just kind of messed around and it somehow turned out. So
nice. So you watch the film over and over and over again, scenes over and over and over again when you were doing the Watched
it many times, yeah. And I think the version I had to work with first was like, it was just like there was no audio edits or anything.
Which and it was really like 2 hours you started on like the cut back when it was 2 hours long.
Yeah. So but it was cool for me because like I got to see like how much was actually done in post with audio too, because I was always really curious about that. So I saw, the very first kind of draft and then the final one. It was really interesting for me to observe. So
yeah, and then you wrote a whole album at the same time as well to go with it.
I did, yeah. I wrote that after. In the summer at some point. Yeah, it was fun. No, sadly didn't get to put it out this year, but
why is that?
There was a bunch of problems with like trying to get it distributed. The distributor I was using kept being like, oh, you need this and like a license and like approval, and it was just like it was weeks back and forth, and it just got too close to Christmas. So yeah, that's
such a shame. Is that because of the covers?
Partially, but I also had a feature from another artist, and they said you need all these documents, but it was just, so it was a time crunch. But now I know, so we'll put it out next year. It's all good.
It'll be out this coming Christmas.
Excellent.
Because the songs are beautiful. Because obviously you released When Snow Falls off it, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
That is a beautiful song.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
So good.
Yeah, I liked writing that one.
So going back to the jokes in the film and stuff, is there any particular jokes in the movie that you're like extra proud of? You're like, yeah, I wrote that. That is fucking brilliant.
We do have, whenever we watch it, we haven't watched it in a few months, obviously, but whenever we watch it, we're like, oh, did I write that? Did you write that? That one's really good. And I think it's good that we've sort of forgotten who did what exactly, because all the jokes are like so cohesively written by the two of us that even though like you can tell, even though like we know who wrote which scene, we then both went back to rewrite and to punch up jokes and to add jokes. My favorite joke that I didn't write, which is Andy's least favorite joke that he did write, is when Santa says, the exact word. He says, "I don't think incest is so bad if it's between two guys." Call me old-fashioned, but I don't think incest is so bad.
I hate that. The second I wrote it, I was like, "This isn't a joke. It's not funny. It's disgusting. It's gonna get cut." And every time I would try and cut it, he would keep it in. I still hate that joke.
Why? It deserves to be there.
Brilliant.
Either when we
it
showed
was
it to
kind
them.
of awkward to watch with my family for that joke as well.
Fantastic. I think one of my favorites was, and which also really surprised me, was when Arthur is getting dinner for him and Keith. Yeah. And he's like, "I hope you like child." I was like,
I do love that one. I wrote that, yeah. And I remember we were like, it was like time for dinner, and we were like, okay, I'm just gonna finish the scene before dinner, and that was my last line that I wrote. So I was clearly hungry.
That's another one I thought, like, fuck, I can't believe I got to stay in, but it's beautiful. And then obviously when he comes back into the cafe after and still talks about it.
I left the child hanging above the fire. What about you, Andy? What's one of your favorite jokes?
I think the one that I'm kind of most proud of is the when Rudolph takes off his hat and there's another hat on him.
Oh, yeah.
It's obviously kind of like very airplane-y, that kind of thing. And that was one that I think that was the scene that people found it hardest to act through without laughing.
Yeah, I think the cast that was their favorite joke too.
So I love that scene.
I was going to say,
I like all the visual gags. Like another one I'm really proud of is the Grandma Coco would never have begged, and then there's a picture, and then like from an execution standpoint, I'm just really happy we got to make all of those things, because that was like the first thing we ever shot for it. It was like I had to beg my grandmother and my brother to be like to get together so I could take a picture of them, and my brother pretended to be a doctor, and they're sitting in the this like library at my grandmother's retirement home, and I'm just like I'm taking photos of them and out the background. And they're like, "What's it for?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
So my personal favorite joke of the whole movie is it's just this recipe was passed down to my grandma from a man on a tall ladder. It really gets me every time. What about you, Braden? Is there particular jokes in there that you loved?
I don't know why, and it's like, but I don't forget what the whole line is, but it's when Arthur at the end he's with Chris, sorry, like outside the house, and Chris says something to him, and then he's like, "No, it's Arthur," or something. What does Chris say?
What does he say?
Oh, he says gravity, right? Or something.
Yeah. I don't know why. I love that one, dude. It's so funny. But I mean, yeah, there's quite a few. But I remember the one that my ex when he's in the bathroom, he's like, "I murdered the family financially with a gun." I love that one because Sean was so into that one. Like, he loved that line. All the time, like throughout when we were shooting, he would just like randomly bust it out to you. Like, he loved it. Yeah, a lot of good jokes though.
Yeah, some great one. The consistent washing of hands. There's just shit everywhere.
When you have to say all these jokes out loud, it's just like they're so stupid.
To be fair, one of my last questions this was going to be, so the hand washing scene, why?
Funnily enough,
you can blame Andy.
Yeah, that was mine. The one kind of thing I've had as an idea for a comedy film was like a hand washing scene going on too long, because you know how like in TV and movies, guys always talk at the urinal and then like go and wash their hands, and they have like the whole conversation. It goes on for so long. I wouldn't talk to anyone at a urinal full stop, let alone like wash my hands for another 20 minutes to finish up the conversation.
Very COVID friendly though, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the fact the scene ends with my ex going, "I'm just going to wash my hands first."
Yeah, originally the scene ended, he said that, and then Chris walked out and stole like a bunch of soaps from the bathroom and put them on his jacket. But we cut that for time.
Yeah, speaking of the bathroom thing, I always wanted to ask you guys, did you know that I was singing in like Dutch or something in that song?
I thought you were doing a goofy like parody song.
I was just making up a language. I was always kind of like,
what I heard was like,
no, but it made it in, so that's all right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I couldn't have to go back and see it, and I couldn't hear it.
I was going to say, I don't remember picking up on that, but
that's the beauty of it, because I was like, no one's gonna really know, but I don't know.
It's like an Easter egg.
Weirdly, I can only go to the bathroom if I'm listening to Dutch music. Perfect.
It's definitely probably not Dutch, so sorry if there's Dutch people watching this. It's very offensive.
It's okay. Just need the sound of clogs and you're sorted.
Dutch podcast.
So when it came to casting the movie, what is your process for casting? Because the casting is perfect, especially the lady who plays Mrs. Clovenwich, because she's just the best.
Our process with casting her was, let's cast her and tell her as little as possible before she doesn't want to do it. And she came to audition with this scene, and we were like, yeah, great, just like do it normal, don't worry about it. And then when we finally cast her and gave her the script, she was like, I'll be honest, I don't understand it, but I'm gonna do it. And we were like, our process was, luckily we were able to have in-person auditions at that point and actually get to meet people. So yeah, I think similar to Braden, it was just like not only who is the best actor, but who understands it, who has the same sense of humor, and who will like fully commit to it, even though it is very crazy.
Yeah.
And like everybody we found was super game, and I think that's the main reason why the movie works, because nobody wants push back against how crazy it was, or nobody like did it as if they were playing it to a laugh track or an audience. Everyone just showed up and like played it straight, and so I think that's why it works.
Yeah, And everyone was fun to be around, which meant that there was a fun atmosphere, which then meant that the movie itself was
it's so hard to make a movie, and it's so hard to make comedy, and if you're miserable during it, then it's gonna turn out bad. Like, I can't imagine Charlie Sheen on his 2 days of Scary Movie 5 was super happy to be around. Maybe he was.
He was winning, wasn't he?
That's
a hell of a callback, isn't it?
Absolutely, boys.
So, where was the movie filmed? Because Snowy Heights, quite frankly, looks lovely. I want to go.
Yeah, it's filmed in Aurelia, a small town north of about an hour and a half north of Toronto. And yeah, we didn't have to do anything to make it look like that. It just looks like that.
Well, our production designer covered it all in tinsel and stuff.
Correct. It was February.
It was February. But every bit as charming as it looks in the movie. Yeah.
Were there any scenes that took ages to film because you were all laughing too much?
Yeah, the hat one took a lot longer than it should.
The Storm and Alex both seemed to have forgotten that the hat joke was coming. So the second he took off the hat the first time, and they hadn't seen the smaller hat at this point, it was kind of game over for.
But they were already uncontrollably laughing because the guy who played Sheriff Rudolph was just so funny, Steve Kazan. And he just came in and like he had never done a table read, he never did anything with anybody. And he just showed up like 10 minutes before shooting that day, and he just came in the scene and no one had ever acted opposite him, and he's immediately just like has this weird Obama like stilted delivery where he's like, "Hello, I am a cop." And it was just like very weird. And then he took his hat off and everybody lost.
Brilliant.
And he kept a straight face the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he's so, I don't know. It was very weird. It was very funny. Another really hard one to film. Sorry, tell me if I'm talking too much.
No, we want you to talk. Listen to us talk for fucking ages. So we need to do you guys. This is what it's all about. So you guys.
We were outside when in the scene near the end when Mrs. Clovenwich is outside on the street with Chris at night, and she says, "I'm the ghost of Christmas past." Blah blah blah. So it was like -30 that day. Everybody was like inside by the fireplace when we weren't filming. It was so cold. People, like, their mouths couldn't move. The actors were like, they were mispronouncing words
Fuck.
while we were doing the scene. But it was really funny because Helly, who played Mrs. Clovenwich, was like doing such a good job and really into the role, but she kept forgetting this wet pink dog dick line, which she's like this sweet lady who is trying to say like remind me of a wet pink dog dick, and she just kept screwing it up, and I was off camera and I was like, wet pink dog dick, wet pink dog dick, wet pink dog
wet
dick.
fucking
Yeah.
pink. wet fucking pink.
And then at a certain point, like, everybody's lost it, and she's just like, "Who the fuck wrote this shit?" That was really a perfect encapsulation of everything.
That was
Also on the DVD, I think.
Yeah.
The only blooper we wanted to include.
It is on there.
Yeah.
So my personal favorite characters in the whole film is Keith or Flash the Mall Elf. And I'm not just saying this because he's here, but Braden's henchman. It's like you listen to Braden's music and then you see him in the film dancing and shouting and stuff like it's not what you expect when you listen to Say We Can Fly. And I'm sorry, every time I hear "Big Baby Boy 5'7" breaks me every time.
Yeah.
So
that was one of his improv lines as well.
How was it to play that role? Because it's so different from how the world knows you.
I felt like myself for the first time. That's all. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, like, I don't know. I really had to let go because, like, I'm just, whenever I watch that still, I'm just like, oh my god, like, I can't believe that's captured on film forever, But it was fun, man. It's like all I wanted was, like, I was just like, I'm part of a film, like that was my life goal for a long time. So I was like, whatever they want me to do to serve the story, like, I don't care, I'll do it, So it's not, it's not like the role I want to play for the rest of my life, but like it was so much fun. Like it was kind of a challenge for me because I'm usually a pretty reserved person, and I've always been that way. So just to be able to do that in front of a bunch of people I didn't really know, It really, I don't know, it taught me something, I think, and it was actually like easy to let go, and yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I pretty much just watched Tourette's guy videos. I watched that. Just literally, that was my research, and I kind of developed like a backstory in my head for the character, even though I knew, nobody would know it. But yeah, so I just wanted to do my job.
I just love it. It's the scene where Mary's talking to Santa at the bar, and all you could see in the background is you standing there doing this dance. I was fucking dying.
I remember Andy at one point came up to me, and he's just kind of quiet. He's like, "Could we just tone it down a little bit?" Yeah. I was like, all right, yeah.
But, I mean, it was such a small role, and it would have been like anyone else. It would have been such a forgettable role.
I laugh all the time when Braden's on screen because he's just doing something funny in the background all the time, and like he's like sniffing.
Yeah,
he's sniffing my ex's neck, and he's like, I don't know.
He just steals every scene, and it's kind of
it really does.
Yeah, better than you could hope for a character like that.
Spraying himself in the face and just
That was a lot.
And the credits roll and it says music by Braden Barrie, and you're hearing When Snow Falls, and you're like, wow, that's beautiful. And then you see he played the henchman, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, it's so fun. But with the different characters, where did the inspiration come for some of, especially someone like Arthur? Like,
clearly Andy is the inspiration for Arthur.
Yeah, I mean, there was, when we were watching these weird Hallmark and various other companies, there were a lot of like time traveling.
There's a lot of weird
people,
tropes
like
you notice.
Soldiers and princes and
you notice like if you watch one of those movies, you might not realize, but as soon as you watch like 2 or 3, you're like, okay, well, there's always someone time traveling. There's always someone who doesn't want to accept help, even though they should. And there's always a grandmother who's in everybody's business. So it sort of, it came from that. And then it also just came from like us thinking who would play well against other people and like what each scene needed. Like Arthur ended up weirdly being the heart of the movie, which we never would have expected. And Keith ended up being like the relatable part of the movie. And yeah, I don't know, like,
I think it was a lot of just kind of like deciding what joke fits with what character kind of thing. You know, we had a lot of joke ideas and we already knew what kind of typical characters would have to work in there. It was just kind of working with what kind of jokes fit with who, right?
So, I never knew that there was a fucking like schedule that you have to stick to for Hallmark movies that you mentioned earlier. Like that's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like surely why can't people just adapt and do their own thing rather than it has to have a time traveler, it has to have a prince, it has to have a fucking, they must fall in love, they're not fall in love, but then they will at the end. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Yeah, and there's like a rule that they can't, like, people can't kiss. They can only kiss once, and it has to be at the end. And people can't, no woman who's not married can have kids. And there's like a lot of things. I think they're slowly changing them. And I'll take all the credit for that. That we really groundbreaking, I think.
You should take the credit for it, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything like now in hindsight, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently?
If Braden wouldn't mind like muting us, I think we could have done without him.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Andy wasn't great. They'd not be on this show with you guys, so I guess like if we wouldn't have released it, that wouldn't have happened. That would have been
Bye
then. Yeah. Probably in reality, the only thing that I would change is the amount of shit on his hands.
Really? You need more. Surely.
Like a lot of people understood a lot of the jokes that we didn't think they would, but the one thing that seems to be the consensus is like there's too much shit on his hands.
Yeah.
I disagree.
No.
Yeah. See, everybody. It's
But at the same time, I feel like somewhere in the movie we have to go a bit too far, you know? So
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few points. But it works so beautifully.
yeah.
What about you, Braden? Is there anything you would have done differently, whether it would be in your role in the music?
More gourd.
I would have. I accidentally ruined my haircut before we shot it. Yeah, I don't know what happened, dude. I was like, oh, I need to do a little trim, because a lot of times I trim my own hair, and you know what happened, dude. But if you watch that, you'll see it, you know.
I think it works well though.
It did, yeah, it did. It's
I
just
don't think your character's meant to look the most perfect together.
a little bit wonked out, but no, honestly, I had a great time. I did. I really had a great time. I loved it, and yeah, I learned a lot, especially from doing the score. I learned so much about like my software and production, and yeah, so I wouldn't do a darn thing different.
It's amazing to hear. I love that, because all of the movie me and Tom genuinely love. That's why we wanted you on here, to promote this film, to talk about it, because we love it so much. So it's amazing to hear that you guys are so happy with what you did. But before we move on from Cup of Cheer, I do have to ask one more question personally. How does orange juice cause satanic asbestos?
You'd be
You
surprised.
have to be Canadian to understand, I think.
Okay, Braden.
I have no idea. I did do a research paper on it, and I still couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, and this was actually this was my thesis, and turns out it can't. It's it's fake news.
Tom, was there any more questions you wanted to ask about Cup of Cheer before we moved on?
Not about Cup of Cheer. I do have one question about clouds. Is there anything that you can unveil about clouds at all?
Absolutely. It's a short film I wrote and directed that's we shot in October. And I've been working on it for a long time before that, and it's very different to Cup of Cheer. It's
Okay.
definitely not a Christmas movie or a airplane
comedy
type comedy. It's a much more of a serious kind of drama, but it's just about shutting two people in one room and shaking it up and watching the tension kind of spill over.
Okay.
And yeah, and we're editing it now, and we're happy with how it is so far, and we're hoping that
Braden will be doing the score.
yeah.
And it may be a TV pilot, it may be a short film. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're kind of excited to see what happens with it.
Are you going to be releasing it over here?
Potentially.
I mean, I hope so.
In one way or another, yes, it will be released.
I mean, you are British, Andy. Come on, sort of.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't let the side down.
Is there anything else you work on, or is clouds your focus at the moment?
We're developing a few TV shows that are similar in tone to Cup of Cheer. We're working right now on a reality show, which is like a parody sort of thing.
Oh, amazing.
That's a brilliant idea.
And we're also doing another movie. Am I allowed to say the title?
Sure. I mean, I don't know if it'll.
Well, the title kind of explains. It's called American Ghost Shark Haunting. And that's it's a spiritual successor to Cup of Cheer. It's just gonna be like an A24 indie horror, like a very upscale horror movie, but fucking stupid.
Oh, get in.
Please tell me that Andy's playing the lead Texan character.
Yeah, he's playing Howdy, Texas.
Howdy,
Texas.
And I hope you're currently working on a Henchman and Officer Rudolph spin-off movie, because that needs to be seen after the end of the movie.
We did plot out what the sequel would be, waiting for the day when we can make it. And the Henchman does come back in quite a big way to seek revenge. Slash, also, the Henchman might have been undercover as a cop the whole time. We haven't really figured it out. but that is an alternate reading of the movie because he pulls the small hat out of his pocket at the end, and the Sheriff Rudolph says, "Deputy," right?
Yeah.
So either he got a promotion right there, or he was undercover the whole time, and that's up to the fans to decide.
Mm-hmm. He could have been pulling all the strings.
Yeah,
you know.
Braden.
No,
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know. Could be.
So, Braden, what's coming up for you, my friend?
Yeah, currently just working on another album. Say We Can Fly album. It's kind of like emo rap, poppy stuff. Hopefully shooting a music video in the next couple months. And yeah, I have a full length that I'm sitting on as well. So I just have a bunch of new music I'm sitting on and trying to book some shows for like the end of the year. Hopefully they can happen. And yeah, you know, hopefully working on the cloud score as well and whatever these guys want to do. So it's kind of chilling.
In our last chat, you mentioned a Dakin type movie. Is that still on the cards?
Yeah, it's written. We just it's one of those things where me and Mike like we do everything ourselves. Like we pass the camera back and forth and like literally just do everything. So I think something like that is just it would require a little more planning, a little more help. So I mean, it's something that we want to do, definitely. So just kind of got to wait for the right time, I think, for that.
Well, hopefully by the end of this year, be able to actually do something. Hopefully this year, now everyone's getting vaccinated, be able to actually go outside and play again.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
I want to see people. Tom, is there anything else you wanted to ask before we get out of here?
No, because the answered with the new horror movie spin-off coming up. So yeah, I'm all good.
Wonderful. Jake and Andy, any plugs? Any way you want people to be able to find you? Online, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it is a Christmas movie, but you can still watch Cup of Cheer if you want to escape from our nightmare reality. It's available in the UK on Sky, iTunes, Virgin, and
Amazon Prime.
Yep. And it is available in North America on Amazon Prime and Tubi for free. And my first movie, All About Who You Know, is a little bit funny, a little bit dramatic, a little bit of a coming of age, very meta rom-com, and that is on Amazon Prime in the US. It's on a streaming platform called Crave in Canada. It's nowhere in the UK, and you can send your angry letters to Gravitas, who is our distributor.
Done.
Will do, because I want to watch that.
And our 5-star rating, Cup of Cheer for you as well.
Yeah, and please leave ratings for Cup of Cheer on Letterboxd, on Amazon, wherever. It really helps us out and helps a lot of people get to check out the film who would have never seen it otherwise.
Absolutely.
And what about you, Braden? Where can people find you online?
Type in "Say We Can Fly" all one word. Anywhere.
Just pop that into the Google machine. Love it. Wonderful. Guys, thank you so much for this.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Follow me on Twitter.
Go on.
No.
At by Jake Horowitz, BY. And I'm trying to tweet more funny things and less like promotional things. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
And another thing. No, it's okay.
No, go on. What's that?
No.
I just wanted to interrupt you.
Interrupt me. That's fine. I mean, if you want to, you can carry on. It's all good.
Wonderful. Gents, this has been amazing. We've had an absolute blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
It's been great.
Thank you.
And we best go because the grilled cheese won't fuck itself.
Thank you so much, boys. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.
I'll see you next time, hopefully.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Take care, boys.
Take care, boys. Bye.
Bye.